Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ginger Pierce, and I'm one of the travel agents with Marvelous Mouse Travels. We are the agency that runs this Facebook group, along with several others that are focused on different destinations. Welcome to Sundays with MMT. This is a weekly live agent panel video series that we do in one of our Facebook groups every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're really excited tonight to be here in our bucket list group to tell you a little bit about Virgin Voyages. A group of our agents just disembarked not too long ago, and they're really excited to share with you their experience. But we would also love to take any questions that you have. So feel free at any point during this to go ahead and drop those questions in the comment section, and we will be happy to come back and address those for you at the end of our time together. We are using a platform called StreamYard to go live this evening, and so that may ask you to approve it to display your username and profile picture. If you want to post a comment, just know that you can decline that permission and you can still post and interact with us anonymously, and we would love for you to do that. So I'm joined tonight by three of our marvelous agents. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight, and please take just a second to tell everybody your name, how long you've been with the agency, and the best way for people to contact you if they're interested in planning a vacation.
Hi, I'm Susanna. I've been with the agency over a total of 2 years, and the best way to contact me is susannac@marvelousmousetravels.com.
Hi, y'all. I'm Charlene Resio, coming to you from Illinois. I've been with Marvelous Mouse Travels for almost a year. My anniversary is coming up next week. And the best way to contact me is via email at charlene@marvelousmousetravels.com.
Hi, I'm Jen Travis, and I actually just celebrated my 1-year anniversary this week. And you can reach me at jennifer.travis@marvelousmousetravels.com.
And again, my name is Ginger, and the best way to find me is to visit my blog, which you can find at gingermmt.com. So, ladies, there are obviously no shortage of cruise lines that people can choose from. You have everything from Disney Cruise Line, which is obviously very family friendly and kid centric. You have Royal Caribbean, which is a little bit in the middle. And then you kind of have cruise lines similar to Voyage that are maybe geared a little bit more towards that adult crowd. And so, for people who are looking for an experience that, is maybe a little more elevated in some ways or a little bit more adult friendly in some ways, I think that this one can be a really good option. And I'm sure that you all, will speak to that a lot when you tell us about your experience. For those of you maybe who are joining us for the first time or kind of new to the world of travel professionals as a whole, travel professionals are constantly training by experiencing vacation products firsthand on something called familiarization trips, or FAMs, as we call them for short. And so this group of agents recently returned from a FAM where they got to sail with Virgin and they got to experience, firsthand. And so they're going to talk to you just about all of the different elements that you're curious about when you're trying to decide whether or not you want to take a cruise. And let's start with your home away from home when you're cruising, and let's talk about staterooms. So what are the stateroom options? What do you all think about the staterooms with Virgin as maybe opposed to some other cruise lines that you've sailed with? So give us the lowdown on all of that.
Okay, well, so I was able to stay in what they call the Sea Terrace suite, which is the equivalent of a balcony stateroom when you're talking traditional cruise lines. And it was, we had 2 people in there, and it is an adults only cruise line. And so they had the option to set your bed up as a king with 2 twin beds that were right next to each other and connected, or you could have 2 adults, and they kind of set it up like an L shape, where you're sleeping head to head. So we found that with that kind of setup, it was actually quite roomy in the room itself, because then it opened up the room. It gave you more, I guess, square footage to roam around in. But I think the highlight of the terrace suite is the red hammocks that are on each balcony. I talked about this yesterday in our podcast, but I am not a hammock person. I have this like weird fear about it that I'm going to sit in it and then I'm going to roll out. And I've actually done that before. So I was very hesitant to try out the hammock, but the great thing is they're handmade. They're each personally handmade by a small business in, I think, Thailand. And they're set up so that you sit into it, as opposed to the traditional hammock where you're sitting like, kind of like a banana. You get to sit into it, so you're not worried about falling or rolling over. So for me to be sitting on that hammock, just listening to the waves crashing, that was for sure the highlight of our room. I don't know what the rest of you ladies have to say about your staterooms.
So I definitely liked our staterooms, but one of the stateroom options that I think would be great to talk about is the Sea Terrace XL. So when we were on board, we got to actually tour the Sea Terrace XL. And I would say for me, and I'm already looking at options with some of my girlfriends doing a girls trip, that would be where I would start, just because it's more space, but there's also more bathroom space, and it's that split bathroom. So when you walk in, you've got a long counter with a sink, and then there's a left door and a right door. The left door is your toilet, and then your right door is your shower, and the glass is frosted. So you still have privacy from wherever you're at in that bathroom, and you still have that counter space that allows you to get ready. And why I really like the Sea Terrace XL better than the Sea Terrace is just the bathrooms are smaller in the Sea Terrace. It's not a split bathroom design. You're on the toilet, you're on the sink, you're on the shower. Like you can only one person can be in that bathroom at a time. But it is still a great stateroom, all things considered. And Charlene mentioned, the hammock. You can also buy that hammock on board the ship. I want to say it was $200 maybe in the gift shop, if I remember. I was eyeing that. I might need to go back on and get it and install it somewhere in my backyard.
Like Jen said, we were able to tour a lot of the different staterooms. So I would say that, we were in the terrace was like the middle ground, right? There are interior staterooms. I think the only difference really, because the bathrooms are the same in the interior stateroom and the regular Sea Terrace, I think the square footage is very close. But the great thing about this ship, because it is adults only, is that they have a number of solo cabins as well. So people who are looking to just have a nice time don't have to worry about spending the double occupancy rate to stay on the ship, which I thought was great. And then we were also able to take a tour of the suites, their Rockstar suites. And I just thought they were amazing. On this ship, they don't offer drink packages per se. So you buy your drinks individually as you're on board. But when you stay in the Rockstar suites, you actually do get open bar that is included with your stay. So that's kind of another perk of being a rock star.
Awesome. So it sounds like they have quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, I wanted to jump on the reg hammock because Jen and I were actually sharing a room in the Sea Terrace, and our first day, we went out to the balcony, and I was like, I want to try the hammock out, take my picture, and I sat in the hammock, and I basically almost fell out, and it was like so funny because I thought it was gonna come out from the ceiling, but I think I spent anytime we were in the room, I think I was out there like sitting in the hammock. I took like a 2-hour nap at one point, but jumping on what Charlene said about the solo inside, I know a lot of people that want to go on an 18+ cruise and they might want to leave. Like, I want to leave my husband by myself. Let me have a solo trip. And I don't have to pay like that entire price. I can just go get my solo cabin and have everything I need in there.
Yeah. And that's a great point because that is pretty rare, that you have the option to have that solo experience if you want to. So, if you are maybe traveling with a group of friends and you don't want to be sharing a stateroom, you want your own space, you have that option with this, which I think is really cool. So let's move on and talk a little bit about some of the onboard activities. So what's some of the fun that can be had at sea?
Oh man, That whole ship is an onboard activity, if you ask me. They've got great activities in the evening, but I think that the great thing is when you think of a traditional cruise line, at least when I do, I think, okay, standard trivia or dance lessons or bingo, which are all great, and I'm not knocking any of it. But the thing about Virgin for me was that it's just like you said, the word that you used, Ginger, was perfect. It's elevated, right? So they have like a gastronomy restaurant that's only open at dinner. But during the daytime, they have activities like it's called Shot for Shot, where they teach you how to make craft cocktails. But on top of it, on top of doing the craft cocktails, they teach you how to take photos of those cocktails to make them look that much more scrumptious. So you're leaving there not only with, a great cocktail recipe, with, under your belt, but you also know how to take pictures to make them look great. They have a grog walk, which is a pub crawl that you can go on across the ship, and they kind of give you the highlights of the drinks and things like that, and some of the food too. And if you're feeling a little fancier, they have an afternoon high tea. So there's just so many cool things that you can take advantage of. I did try to do the trivia. I never won one game, guys. I was super disappointed. But they did have trivia at least twice a day. And they had a jigsaw puzzling contest. I don't know if they had that while you guys were on board, but it was a speed jigsaw contest. So whoever put together their jigsaw puzzle first won. So just kind of really cool stuff on board. What was your favorite, ladies?
So one of the things that's really unique and different about Virgin is the group exercises, which are all included in the price of your voyage. And we're talking everything from Pilates class, bar classes, yoga classes, even like the basics of like foam rolling. Like, if anyone is, heavy into working out, foam rolling is huge, and they have all of this equipment. It's all of the latest state-of-the-art equipment. It's not outdated. The rooms are really nice. Everything is really well taken care of. They also have a posture seminar, so how to, carry yourself. So there's the activities to keep you fun and engaged, but there's also the health aspect that Virgin also prides itself on as well, as to how to be healthy in the active lifestyle that you're having. And just because you're on a cruise doesn't mean you're taking a vacation from your gym. You can carry your routine on the ship. They even had a boxing ring, so you could either bring your boxing gloves, get some, and you could box a partner. They had tons of apparatuses outside the ship. The very top level is a track, I want to say all the way around. Maybe the distance was a mile, but don't quote me on that. But it was a really good, like
250
uninterrupted track. 150 meters. Okay. You could just run around that track, and a great view, great selfie shot with the Virgin sign up against the boat as well. So there are lots of great places and things to do. The arcade as well. And that, again, all included. You can play video games till your heart's content all hours of the night. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and adding on to that, you have your basketball court, which was right there. But next to the boxing ring, which I found really cool, was they had seesaws. Your typical seesaw that you might find at a kid's playground, but made for adults. They had like 2-person seesaw and even a 4-person seesaw. So if you have a group of friends, you can really get going around and around. And along with that, you have your spa where, I spent a lot of time, because for $39, you can go for 3 hours and visit a mud room, sauna, salt room. What else was there? Steam room. They had cold baths, your regular hot tubs, your warm tables that you can lay on flat, and they're like heated, so you can like stretch out your muscles. And there was so many things in that spa.
Awesome. So let's move on and talk a little bit about ports of call. So where does Virgin sail?
So, and I know a couple of us did different cruises, but so Virgin right now, so they're in the Caribbean and they are also sailing in the Mediterranean and they're working their way towards Australia. And that's something that'll be coming, I believe they said the latter part of next year. But for our particular cruise, we were at Taino Bay in the Dominican Republic and then Bimini Beach, which is Virgin Cruise Line's private island. I myself had been to Taino Bay, so I was really excited to go back and experience some of the things I hadn't done before. It is a brand new constructed port in the Dominican. There are 2 ports in the Dominican. There are pools. There is a monkey adventure on the port. Tons of shops and restaurants. I mean, it really was. It probably is one of my favorite ports right now. It's definitely up in the running. But there are loungers, chairs, everything. If you just want to lay out by the sun, free. Like there is no cost for the loungers, for the pool, anything like that. You could just spend the day at Taino Bay.
So I was on a different cruise than Susanna and Jen. We did the Fire and Sunset Soirees itinerary. Right now, there's 2 ships that Virgin Voyages has in the water. We all sailed on the Scarlet Lady, and her home port is in Miami. So she does have 4 different itineraries, 1 4-night itinerary, which is what I did. And we actually sailed to Nassau in the Bahamas, and we also went to Bimini, the beach club at Bimini. And just to correct you, Jen, I don't believe the whole island is Richard Branson's Virgin Voyages. The beach club itself belongs to Virgin, but there's other parts of the island that I believe that there's other resorts on there. The great thing about Virgin is they do have 4 different itineraries. So if you love it, like I did, and I want to go on a different one, I can go on the same ship and sail 4 different times to 4 different places. They have ours is the shortest. Even though we sailed to Nassau, I will tell you that was the last time that they are going to Nassau, starting June 1st, which is their next Fire and Sunset Soiree. They're going to Key West, which makes, in my opinion, this voyage the best one, because I love Key West, I love Beach Club, and I love Virgin. So that's a really great one if you want to dip your toes in the water and get to know Virgin Voyages. They do the Dominican days that Jen and Susanna stayed on, but they also have 2 cruises to Mexico. I think one stops in Ensenada, and I don't know where the other one stops, but basically it's
Cozumel, I think.
Cozumel. So there's 2 days at sea and 2 days at a port of call. Each Caribbean cruise stops at the beach club. So everybody gets a chance, if you're sailing on the Scarlet Lady, to stop at the beach club and experience that private, elevated experience. And it's designed to be like you're on the beaches of Ibiza, it's a very sophisticated, high class stop. So I highly encourage anybody who is looking for an experience like that to think about a Virgin Voyages cruise.
Yeah, I will say, so we were on the Dominican days and we did Taino Bay and Bimini. And I am someone that when I cruise, sometimes I want to do excursions and sometimes I don't. And this was one where you could definitely do both, but I didn't have an excursion at all during this entire cruise, and I was still able to do so much. Like, we got off at Taino Bay and we walked straight to Monkey Island, and $25, we got to play with lots of monkeys. They were crawling all over me. I might have tensed up a little bit. But then when we were done with that, it was a 2-second walk over to the pool where the bars are right there, the loungers, and I could still see the ship. So when my nerves start, am I going to make the ship in time? I can see it and make sure I'm back in time. But I was able to have so much fun without an excursion. And same thing with Bimini. I love that at Bimini, I did not have to really worry about carrying my wallet, because one of the cool things is on the band that they give you to charge like to your room, you're able to use that at the beach club there. So any drinks you wanted or any extras, you charge it, but food was already included. Your non-alcoholic beverages were already included. So there's no extra pricing at Bimini, which I thought was amazing. I didn't have to worry about, keeping money extra for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking, and you guys have alluded to it a little bit already, but most people want to know, no matter what session we're doing, whether we're talking about a cruise line, a theme park, an all-inclusive resort, everybody loves to talk food. So let's talk about food. What are some of your favorite places to eat or favorite things that you tried? And how do you feel like the food experience with Virgin compares to maybe other cruise lines that you've sailed with?
So the one thing I will say, you have to be a foodie. You have to be willing to try different foods. And they definitely have a wide variety of options. If you don't like seafood, if you like steak, they have a steak place. If you like seafood, they have a seafood place. Like, there is something for everybody. You just have to be willing to try. They even had a custom personal pizza place. That was amazing. I personally think my favorite of all of the restaurants that we ate at was the Wake. So that is their seafood steakhouse, like a surf and turf restaurant. Their clam chowder. I mean, I wish I had taken a video. I was not prepared for the show that was coming to my plate. I mean, it was truly an experience just with a clam chowder as an appetizer. And Virgin is like that. Like, you never know when a show is going to pop up. One of the other girls that sailed with us, we were getting ready to hop on the elevator and we saw them say, "Ask me about rosé." It was a drink. Like, they were making a show out of a drink, and it was really cool. And it was a pop-up. It was a one and done. She did her show and then she left the spot. So you always, when you're on Virgin Voyages, you want to keep your eye out for stuff like that. But that's the thing about their meals. Like, everything is a show. There's always an adventure to it. And everything was really delicious. And the staff were great. If there was something you were allergic to or didn't like, they were beyond accommodating to help kind of meet your needs, depending on, your lifestyle, in terms of what you can and cannot eat. So I would say the Wake was definitely one of my favorites.
So I'm going to jump onto that because Jen's going to laugh at me. I am the picky eater. And most places I go, I have to get accommodations. Like, I get ketchup with my steak. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. But everywhere we went was super coming to I was able to find something for me to eat, not just your typical chicken fingers and fries, which they did have, but more of that elegance, but on a picky eater side. And like breakfast every morning, I was getting like this gourmet French toast with berries and syrup that was heaven in my mouth that I still want. And the pizza place, I ate at least one pizza a day, if not two. I think we had boxes of pizza in our room at all times. That was my favorite place. But I would say if you are definitely a foodie, this is the cruise line for you. But even if you're not, the experience itself will allow you to even try those things. Like one of the restaurants, the Test Kitchen, where that's kind of the mixology, they went so above and beyond because I was like, I don't know if I want to try those and they're like, okay, can you have this? Can you have that? And I'm like, are they touching? They're like, we'll make it where they're not touching. We'll put them on different parts of the plate so nothing is touching for you. I was like, all right, let's do it. So definitely super accommodating, but even as a picky eater, they can have food. Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna tell you, we were on the shortest itinerary, my friend Jenna and I made it a goal very early on to eat at all 22 eateries. So
it's a good goal.
It was a challenge, guys, but I have to tell you, I know it's a tough job, but sometimes we have to do the things we have to do for research. So we went hard the first day. I think one thing that I don't know that everybody knows about Virgin is in terms of cruising, it kind of turns everything upside down on its head. So, for example, the first thing that I do whenever I go on a cruise is I head straight up to their buffet or their main dining room because I'm starving and I want to get a lay of the land. They don't have a traditional dining room in the sense that there's no buffets on this line. There's over 20 eateries, 22 to be exact, because we did have a checklist and we were checking it off as we were going. And to the point that they have servers. So you don't even have to go up, and they have different, it's more like a traditional food court. They've got, it's called the galley because that's the name of a kitchen in a cruise ship. And they have a noodle place. They have a panini place. They have a 24-hour diner. They have a burger bar. They have a salad place. They have a coffee place. They have the sweet side. So all of that, you know, they have a taco place. And so I thought it was great because it offers so much variety. And one of the things that they have 6 sit-down restaurants that you can make reservations for. And I think Jen mentioned the Wake and the Test Kitchen. My personal favorite was Pink Agave, which was their Mexican restaurant, but it was elevated. And one thing that they like to do is they say, add a little bit of surprise and delight. So it's not just, you know, a Mexican sit-down restaurant. They have, you know, a special appetizer dish that they give to everybody when they're on board. Or if you go to Razzle Dazzle, which is their vegetarian or their veggie forward, not vegetarian, because they serve the world's best bacon at this veggie forward restaurant. They serve brunch and they serve dinner. You have someone walking around with a dish of pastries that they're handing out. So I just think there is something for everyone, and I think it's great to be able to try something. That test kitchen that Susanna was talking about, it's gastronomy, and these are Michelin star chefs that Richard Branson has hired to make these dishes. I'm from Chicago, so we have a gastronomy restaurant called Alinea, and it's $500 a plate to go sit down and eat there. All of your specialty restaurants here at Virgin Voyages, they're all included. There's no extra charge. If you go to a traditional cruise line, they have the main dining room. They don't have that here. They don't have a buffet here. This is something completely different, and you can try all 22 eateries without having to pay an extra penny. Trust me, I've done it.
And I'm going to add on to that, too, about the main eating area. On other cruise lines, you know, you need to be there at 5:30, 8:30. You know, that is your dinner time. That was not the case with this cruise line. We could go at really any time of day that we wanted to. And if we wanted to go at 9 o'clock, sure, let's go. If we wanted to go really early at 5 o'clock, we can do that, too. Or if we wanted to eat at the same restaurant twice in one day, we can do it. I love not having the same table and having to be there at a certain time. It made it to where we could experience every single thing on the ship, and there wasn't a time constraint.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I'm going to throw a question that I didn't prep you guys for in advance at you, but don't worry, it's not really hard because it's just opinion, so there's no right or wrong answer. What person how would you describe the person that Virgin Voyages would just be the perfect vacation for?
So I keep thinking like this, and you know, it's not one-sided, but I honestly think this is a great girls trip. You could be 21, 51. Honestly, age doesn't matter. If you just want to go have a good time and get away with a bunch of your friends, I truly think this is the cruise for you. There aren't kids running around. You know, I love having time with my daughter. I love taking my daughter on a cruise. I love going on a cruise with my friends. But I also love my girls' time. And I didn't know every single agent on this cruise. And I will tell you, it was great just having that adult time where we could talk about things and talk about, you know, girl stuff and not be, you know, pulled, hey, I need to do this, or hey, I'm bored. Or it was great just to be able to focus on what we were there for, but also just be an adult, which you don't get those moments too often, or often enough, maybe, is the right word. And now I'm like, I need more of those moments. How do I build those in? I also think this is great for like a bachelorette party. I'm surprised Susanna didn't talk about this, but they also have a casino on board. So, bachelors as much as bachelorettes, this would be another great idea. Get out onto the ocean and go take 10 of your friends, do a group trip for your bachelorette party. They call them circles with Virgin Voyages. Get a circle together and celebrate your single days before you get married. Because I do think that would be a great way to plan a bachelorette party. And there are things that they can do to cater towards special events in somebody's life. They've had engagements on that ship. So there are ways to create and cater to special moments.
I would say we sat next to a couple that was on their honeymoon. And they were looking for something that was different. They were definite foodies. They wanted to try everything. If you're a foodie, for sure you need to try this. Yes, bachelorette parties, but maybe divorce parties. They're a thing too, right? So, I mean, really, I would say anyone who is young at heart, because when I was there with my friend Jenna, we were at the bar and we met this great couple, and the gentleman had never been on a cruise before, and his wife was like, well, the only other cruise I've been on is a Disney cruise. This could not be the more opposite of a Disney cruise. But they had a great time. They have, unique things on there. Like we met them at the gastronomy. They were having dinner at the gastronomy restaurant at the test kitchen. We met up with them later at the nightclub, the Manor, where they had shaken for champagne, which is a cute little novelty thing that you could do on board, where you can take your app, you open it up, and then you shake your app and the phone knows where you are, and you hit a button, bubbles show up on your screen, and someone shows up with a bottle of Moet, and you've just shaken for champagne. So between the time that we saw them at dinner at the test kitchen and the time that they shook for champagne, the grandma who had taken, her daughter, the last cruise she took was her granddaughter on a Disney cruise, had also gone to the tattoo parlor that was on deck 6 and gotten a tattoo. So she was just living her best life, So as long as you are there to, to have a good time, I think you're gonna make the best of it, and you're gonna live your best life, because that's what she was doing while she was on board. And I'm jealous, actually, as she's my spirit animal.
So I kind of have two answers, but first, Jen, I didn't spend that much time in the casino, but I did come out on top, so it's a positive experience. But one, parents that just want to have time away from their kids. I have a 1-year-old, and it was so nice not seeing any toddlers running around. I love my son, I do, but the little break is nice. And going along with parents, I really think it's one that parents can bring their adult children. We saw a lot of people that brought their 20-something-year-old kids. They were I knew a mom and a daughter that came, and parents with their 20-year-old sons that came, and they were having the time of their life because, well, one, there was no kid, tiny kids, but just I think the reconnection they were able to have on this cruise, because it was stuff both generations found interest in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. No, that's a great point. So we've got a couple of comments and questions that have come through. So why don't we take a look at those here? Yes, wow, this sounds amazing. Oh, they love your shirt, Jen. Party like a rock star.
I had to rock my Virgin merch.
Yeah. Oh, and this is Jenna. Jenna talking about pink agave. being her favorite. Thanks for watching, Jenna.
Jenna joined me in the 22 plus eateries, so
she can speak to it as well, huh?
I think we're both going through withdrawal right now. Yes.
Yeah, I love how unique and different this cruise is. Definitely does not. It's not your typical cruise experience. So for sure. And that's a great point too. Maybe if you have done a ton of cruises and you're just like, we've cruised, like maybe this is something to give it a shot and be like, okay, let's do something different, because it does, like y'all said, it does kind of take traditional cruising and turn it on its head a little bit. How's the entertainment on board?
So they have a lot of really good shows. Everything, there's a Cirque du Soleil type show called Dual Reality. I think that and
my favorite,
the Untitled Dance Show.
Party show thing.
Yeah. I think those were my two favorites. So they have this room. It's called the Red Room. It's a multi-purpose performance room, I guess is what I'm going to call it. Every single time we stepped into that room, it was set up in a different way. So the first night, traditional stage with like a leaf coming out from the stage, and the dancers and performers are all over the place. The next night, you've got, seating on either side and the performances in the middle, and that was the Dual Reality show. I mean, they really can turn this around into a wide variety of ways to suit the show that they're putting on for you. And these were some amazing shows, some talented performers. They don't just hire and say, hey, do you like to juggle? Like they actually go out and search for people that are at the top of their class. So you're not finding somebody that Virgin trained on how to juggle or, how to do a box step. Like these are people that have spent their lives learning how to juggle and actually know how to do certain tricks and stunts that they can then blend into the different shows that they offer on board. So I was blown away at the performances that we got to see on board the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you, again, going back to traditional
I'm gonna add on.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say if you're used to
go ahead.
And that there's always that auditorium, like the Broadway style shows, that isn't something that you're going to find here. And in fact, they don't have an auditorium on the ship. It's much more of an intimate feel. I mean, when you are talking about that Dual Reality show, they do typically have a circus act or some kind of acrobatic show when you're on a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. But this adds a little twist because it's Romeo and Juliet themed. They make you feel like you're a part of the show. And in fact, you are a participant from the moment that you come in a small way. And I think that's what's so great about it. It's original entertainment. It's not like anything you're going to see on any other ship. And I think that's what makes it so great because it's very personal and it's very intimate. And it's not like, you're sitting 500 feet away from the stage and watching something that you've maybe seen before. This is something totally original and unique, and you could tell that they put their hearts into it. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, Jen.
And I was actually going to.
Oh, sorry. I was going to tell you that I was watching along your stories when you were, because they went on a ship before we did, and I was watching it, and I was with my friend, and I was like, even after watching your stories, I was like, I don't know, we should probably go. I don't know if I'm going to be into this, to the Untitled Dance Party show thing. So we're like, okay, well, let's go. We'll spend 5 minutes there. We'll take the pictures we need to, and then we'll do our thing. Do you know, not only did we stay the whole time, we were dancing along with the rest of them by the end of the show because it was just that contagious. So really don't take our word for it. Just go, because I think it's just so contagious that you're going to want to be taking a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, when we walked into the Red Room for the Untitled show, I was like, I'll stay for an hour. I was tired, traveled heavily that day. I was exhausted. I was wiped. I'm like, I'll stay, I'll check it out. I stayed, like Charlene said, I stayed till the end because it made me want to know where things were going to go. And then it was like over and I'm like, I want to keep going. And it's like 12:31 in the morning and I want to keep going, but my butt should be in bed. So, I mean, the it really was like that show. I think that show was my favorite. That and like Dual Reality, like just it's a very close tie. I don't know which one I like more. They both were so good. But they keep making you want more. Like you want to see what's going to happen next. And to Charlene's point with Dual Reality, we had people sitting next to us and I'm like, wait, why is he yelling at the show? Like what's going on? And then you realize he's part of the show. Like he's part of the entertainment. Like he was one of the guys. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I've never seen that before. So it definitely turns you upside on your head. I'm sorry, Susanna, to cut into you.
Yeah, go ahead, Susanna.
No, you're good. I know there's a lag. What I was gonna say is I like the very first night, and I don't want to spoil too much, but you walk in and there's no seats. And you're like, what type of show am I gonna sit down and there's no seats? Like my feet are going to hurt. I don't want to stand watching this. And it is so inclusive. That's, as Jen was saying, by the end of it, we were dancing with the performers. And I love that it wasn't so just, let me sit in my seat, I'm going to watch this show for an hour, and then we're going to leave. They got you up. They got you involved. Like, I was shaking hips with one of the performers for like 15 minutes, you know. I love that part of the entertainment.
Awesome. What's the best thing you ate or drank? That's like single item.
Well,
pizza. Pizza.
Susanna.
Sorry, pizza.
For me, the hidden gem was on deck 16. So it's not near the galley. It's not one of the sit-down restaurants. It was their poke bowl place. It may be the best poke I've ever had, and it was hidden, you know, outside, completely separate. But it was so delicious. I wish I had spent more time on the ship. So that may alone make me want to book another cruise there. And we found a hidden gem right behind the social club, which is called the Loose Cannon. And they make craft cocktails. The one that I had mezcal. And fun fact, they have the largest mezcal collection on any cruise ship. So if you're a big fan of mezcal, that's where you want to be. But they paired it with watermelon and mint and a little bit of activated charcoal. And it was just delightful. So I highly recommend.
We had a break during one of our training days at sea, and we went to the dock house. One of the things that they offer on board is a juice bar where you can have a wide variety of juices. And it's the orange juice, but it's not orange juice. It was like carrots and orange and mandarin. Mm-hmm. It was so good and so fresh and refreshing. So we were sitting on the back. It's a Mediterranean style restaurant. So we got some chicken kebabs, some steak kebabs. There was, oh God, I'm going to be in trouble with one of the other agents for getting this. There was so many good foods, but the kebabs were my favorite because they were just so tasty, and the garnish and what they marinated it in, it was so good. It melted in your mouth. It was fantastic. But the juice was just so refreshing. I ordered one, 2 came out. It's posted on my Facebook somewhere. I felt like healthy after drinking that, and I was ready to go for round 2.
How was the private island?
I like the private island. So when you first walk in, so you have to take a tram from where the boat docks, maybe about 5-7 minutes max. You walk in, you've got a bar on one side and then sailor services on the other. There's a pool, there's a beach. The food was delicious. So that was actually my backup. There was a coconut crusted corn on the cob. That was so delicious. And I love a good corn on the cob, and I've never had coconut on my corn. So that was actually really good. It was a lot of fun. There was so much going on. They had float away, which one of their, parties, they toss some floaties in the water and you just kind of float. It did rain for a little bit, but it was your typical Caribbean rain. starts for 5 minutes and it's off. But we were in the pool, we didn't even notice. Like we just kept going, and the music was great. I know that they had mentioned they're going to be having some guest DJs coming out onto the private island. They haven't made any big announcements, but I think there's going to be one coming for Richard Branson's birthday as well. So that'll be a good sailing to be on if anyone has free time for his birthday.
Was Richard Branson on board?
He wasn't on yours?
There was a photo of him. So we actually got to tour the bridge. And Captain Giovanni, make time. If you're on Virgin Voyages, find Captain Giovanni. He will take the time to talk with you. When they were inaugurating the ship, they came up with this wall for all of their sailors. And there's a picture of Richard Branson with the captain and some of the other first mates. They called them something else, but more of the admin team. And so it was great to see that on board.
Cool. Jenna says the pop-up entertainment at Scarlet Night was also amazing. Very cool. Yeah.
Yes, don't forget your splash of red if you.
I also want to jump
into Voyage.
Good.
And I was going to say for the beach club, to add on to the entertainment portion there, I found it really cool that the crew of the Scarlet Lady actually gets off with you, and they are performing the whole time you are at Bimini. So we could be lounging out by the pool, and that happenings cast is dancing the entire time. They were doing water guns, doing bubbles. Like, you have entertainment off the ship all day long as well.
Cool.
And actually, Susanna just brought up a great point that we didn't talk about at all. The happenings cast. So typically when you're on a cruise, there's a cruise director, and they're kind of navigating you through the events and the highlights on the ship. That is different with Virgin Voyages. There was 7 or 8, and they all have different names that kind of go with like what their theme is, or kind of what they do. And so it was really, again, to Susanna's point, it was really cool to see them on Bimini. There's a champagne sail away. So when you're sailing from Miami, they come out, they introduce themselves, tell you who they are, where you can find them. And they're all really great. Like, you definitely see them out and about throughout your sailing. But yeah, they were definitely out in full force on Bimini.
That's awesome. I think that's all our questions that we had. So thank you guys so much for asking questions and for watching with us tonight. If you would like to get more information from any of the agents that you heard from and you joined us a little bit late, our contact information is back at the beginning of the video. And keep in mind that it is no additional cost to you to book through one of our agents versus just going online and booking direct. But when you book with us, you do get concierge level vacation planning services. And as these ladies have demonstrated tonight, you get firsthand information from people who have actually gone on these trips and who can speak to it from firsthand experience. So we can help you with everything from a cruise to an all-inclusive resort to a theme park and beyond. So we hope you enjoyed watching with us tonight, and we hope to see you again really soon for another episode of Sundays with MMT. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.